Today, we're gonna be talking about adding AC to this van on the budget. Welcome back to another video with the Chuggin Astro. Now here in Texas, it is way too hot to camp without some sort of AC system. And I hate sweating in bed. Now the first option is always gonna be a rooftop AC system, like a typical Dometic. And the cheapest one I found is $800 by Furrion on Amazon. And even that cheap one is like 14.5 thousand BTUs. That's just too much for this space. So I thought, then I thought, and I thought some more. Then I kept thinking of cheaper options that you could do as well. So my first thought was a window unit. I don't want to have a window unit hanging outside the van. It's just not the look I'm going for. So I thought of how could I install it inside the van? And there are many videos of people doing it with success. And the only space I have inside this van is literally right here. In order for this to work, I need the front of the unit to be facing this way. And the smallest unit I found is 13.19 inches. And it's 15 inches tall for about $179, and it has 5,000 BTUs, which is still more than enough. But here's the kicker. I need to build a box around the unit with a 2-inch gap all the way around it, which would increase that unit to be about that big. That's as far forward as I want the seat. That's just comfort for me. And of course I'd have to cut 2 big holes in the van for an exhaust and intake. That's just a lot of holes, but it's doable. Not as bad as AC sticking out. And for that idea to work, I'd probably have to raise the bed about 4 inches. And I'm already hitting the roof on the van, and I actually want to lower the bed, so that idea is not going to work. Then I thought maybe I could install it as a rooftop AC system, mount it right here, create an intake that is swooping into the van, and cut a hole as big as a max air fan, and that'd be the only hole I need to cut. But then the unit would be sticking out this big on the back. Not a bad idea. And if I did that, the van wouldn't be able to fit in the garage anymore. Then my next thought was a portable AC unit. Most people have issues with these AC units because they run the exhaust tubing like throughout the van, and the exhaust tubing is very hot and heats up the van, so the AC unit is kind of competing against itself. So that unit would be installed right here and run the exhaust AC ducting straight out the van, or I could run it out that window up there and build a custom template so I don't need to cut any holes. And the smallest ones of those is about 13.8 inches wide and 27 inches tall, which is about as tall as this piece of wood here, which could fit here. And then I could build a storage spot up above, but then the seat would not be able to move back at all. And that unit has about 8,000 BTUs for about $250. Then I could also put it in the garage whenever I'm working on cars. The biggest issue with both of those AC setups is that it would take a lot of energy. I would need a heavy duty battery system to even power it for a night, or I'd have to be plugged into shore power, which means the only way I can have AC is if I'm on some sort of campground. I mean, I could buy a generator and lug it around, but they are loud, they take up a lot of space, and not really what I'm going for. So then I thought, what is an idea that would take a whole lot less electricity? I could get a cooler, cut 2 holes on top, put ice in it, and blow a fan on it. A lot of people have done it, and it works very temporarily because the ice melts pretty quickly because you're blowing hot air directly on ice. It's not efficient, won't last all night. There's a fella on a YouTube channel called Make Everything, which basically created an upgraded version of that idea. He got a cooler, he put ice in it, and what was very innovative was that he put insulation right in the middle of the cooler, or a little higher, and above that he put a radiator or an oil cooler and ran lines down into the cooler. And in that space below, he has a open system with a submersible pump that basically pumps water from that lower level into the upper level, into the radiator, and then back into the lower level, just dumping that water back into the lower level. And then on top level, he has that fan idea, blowing air into the fins of the radiator, ultimately creating an AC system that lasts about all night. And the only energy it's using is the fan and the pump, so it's significantly less. So then I thought, how could I make this idea better? What could I do? So I went to bed thinking about this, and then the next morning I came up with an idea. Use a 12-volt cooler instead. The 12-volt cooler basically keeps the ice cooler for a lot longer and can actually get down to about 45 degrees without any ice, which is insane. And instead of having an open loop system, I can have a closed loop system. I would have an oil cooler inside the cooler that gets cooled by the ice or just by the cooler. Then I run lines outside the cooler into its own separate insulated box, into another oil cooler that then has a fan blowing onto it, blowing cold air into the van. And of course I gotta deal with the condensation somehow, and I'll figure that out. And instead of using water, I'm thinking about using coolant, because coolant takes more energy to warm up. And that's where I'm at. That's my idea. If you have any ideas or anything to add to it, comment down below. The Chuggin Astro shorts are now for sale. I'll link them down below if you're interested, and I'll have more stock by the next video. If you want to check out my Patreon and support me there, that's also down below. You'll be getting benefits like discounts on merchandise. And that's it. This is Chris of Bills United. Always appreciate and respect one another. Thank you for taking your time watching this entire video, and thank you especially to my Patrons. I'll see you next time. Created the slurry to hopefully fix the cracking dash on the Tahoe, and that'll be the next video.